GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the G&T Show, episode 273. I'm Terry Lynn, and across the table is Gettysburg 7.
Joel on True, bitches. And yes, Matthew Anderson, that's the Freak on a Leash with Amy Lee. And then they did a duo with The Cure as well. Sorry, Matthew Anderson is already posting in the chat room. And there he is in the Glass Enclosed Nerve Center with all our weather and traffic. You know him, Ceridium.
Blah.
What did you do this week? Coffee clutch.
How's it looking on the highways today, Mike?
I was going to say the I-85 sucks. We know that.
Oh, it's too soon. Too soon.
Mike, did you see that?
See what?
The destruction of the I-85 in, what is it, Atlanta?
No.
700 feet of the highway collapsed.
Oh my
some guy
gosh.
smoking crack underneath it set it on fire.
What?
Seriously?
A fire brought down 700 feet of a freeway?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
Well, there was a whole bunch of construction stuff underneath, and it was so hot.
Wow.
Essentially, it melted that foam core in the middle, and the foam core gave out, and the entire section of it collapsed.
And this is a major interchange for Atlanta. Oh, 250,000 people use it every day.
Oh, man.
And it's going to be
Seriously.
several months for it to be. Terry, what would the equivalent be in LA? Some 419, 26, 105.
It would be very, very close to something along the lines of a very large chunk of the I-5 or maybe even the 405 it collapsing. In San Francisco, it would be something akin to the 880.
Yeah, there you go, Mike. Matthew put it in the chat room. The great Matthew
That's
Anderson.
crazy.
And Terry, I know most of our listeners won't remember this, but it's like when the Air Florida plane crashed into the 14th Street Bridge in D.C. and took that out.
God,
Remember
that
that?
brought back, yeah, that was a long time ago.
It was horrific. I still remember the images of that. No, this is not April 1st, son. There is no April Fools going on.
Yeah, no, this was actually before April 1st. This actually occurred on Friday, I think.
Was it Thursday or Friday, yeah.
So half of those people who need to get to work now, I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't. I mean, I think a lot of companies right now are really, really, really looking at
Telework.
rethinking their stance on telework.
And also, Atlanta has a pretty good metro system. So
Yeah,
hopefully
I'm
people
sure
will use that.
I'm sure that's
Going to be
being tested.
overtaxed. Here, you can see the tracks right there in that picture off to the right. But yeah, it's going to be tested. It's going to take several months because there was some serious damage there.
They said, somebody said they caught the two that started the fire. Interesting. Well,
Yeah, there were 3 of them. One's already been charged as of last night. Now, that more may have changed overnight. He was smoking crack, and he put a lit chair on top of the construction equipment.
I'm sorry.
Because it was a good idea at the time.
Looking at that picture, what comes to my mind is from the
earthquake.
8 and 89. Yeah, the Bay
Yeah.
Bridge. It happened in sections, and that's kind of like what we're looking at. Is section of it is just poof gone.
Yeah, there was a really good 30 for 30. You know, ESPN has these documentaries that people do. Some are about sports. Some are about, they're tangentially related to sports. One was the day the series stopped. It was about that earthquake. And because that was the Oakland A's against the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah,
Right.
So
Battle of the Bay.
And it hit those teams even more because they were both from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I remember, well, I'm being the Giants fan that I am, I was actually in LA when that happened. I got off work early. My bosses allowed me to shift my schedule so I could leave early so I could catch the games. And I worked 3 blocks from home, so I got to walk home every day. It was great. I was so excited. I sat down. I actually kind of arranged my accoutrement for the game, right? So I had my snacks and I had my beer and I had my everything all set up. I was sitting in the recliner. I turned on the TV. I was all excited
And the world ended.
and then Al Michaels was "It's an Earth," and then everything went black, and I
Everything went
was like,
black. Yeah, Terry, find that you have Netflix, right?
"Uh huh."
Yeah, it's look it up. It's called The Day the Series Stopped.
Okay,
I
I'll
think you'll
definitely
really
check it out.
enjoy it
Yeah, 30s for
because
30s are awesome.
they are so well done. And I remember I was in Germany, and so the World Series came on like in the middle of the night there. So I woke up the next morning, and I remember I asked my friend Jerry Logan, shout out if you're listening, Jerry, wherever you are. And I said, who won the game? And he said there was an earthquake. They didn't play. And I said, no, really. And I didn't believe him at first. And he was like, no, really. And I turned on headline news with Bobby Batista. Anybody of a certain age remembers
Oh
Bobby
man,
Batista, right? With the one eye,
I missed headline news. I'll tell
with
you.
the Stuart Scott like eye that floated, and that was the top story. Of course, was the damage from that earthquake.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, Ceridium. How was your week?
It was a week.
Okay then.
Nice.
I don't know what I did this week. I mean, I can't remember. Ask me when I'm awake.
You helped me shop for things.
Oh yeah, I did that.
Mikey's helping me shop for pieces for a new computer. I'm still trying to
did you
decide
try on
whether or not,
bras?
No,
whether or
that
not I
I
want to
didn't do.
buy a new one or have him create a new one.
Yep, whatever she needs.
So that's what he helped me with. It was fun.
Yeah, I think we also played Star Trek Adventures this week too, right?
We did, yeah. We're still testing it. Again, not all of the mechanics are available for the game yet, and we made some progress. We made some real progress on the game, but there's still a lot of tweaks that need to be made.
Yeah. I don't know what else I
But
did.
had
I
fun.
mean, I haven't been playing Stowe yet. Still, whatever. So yeah. I don't know. It's just been a week.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't. So
I
hopefully.
discovered a series on Netflix. First of all, I do want to say this. Hey, Netflix, boo on you for losing Buffy on the year of its 20th anniversary. Just boo, boo.
Who got
But
it?
I don't know. But on April 1st, it left. But I did discover a new 3-episode miniseries they have called Five Came Back. It is about some U.S. film directors who left their jobs in Hollywood during World War II and joined the military to continue making movies. The five are John Ford, of course, the great John Ford. William Wyler, who I did not know went deaf because he was filming from a B-25 on a bombing raid. John Huston, Frank Capra, and George Stevens. And if any of our listeners don't know who any of them are, shame on you. You have no business listening to this. These are some of the giants in movie directing. I mean, the number of Oscars between them is just insanity. And they directed things like, Frank Capra, It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, John Ford, basically John Wayne. John
Yep.
Huston, geez, Terry, help me out with John Huston.
Angelica Houston's father and an amazing director.
Yeah, and who they have talking about them and telling these stories is just as much a star gallery. You've got Guillermo del Toro, Paul Greengrass, Lawrence Kasdan, Francis Ford Coppola, and Steven Spielberg.
What's this from?
Netflix. It's called Five Came Back.
Oh, wow, cool.
It is amazing. And it's also, for me, real depressing. Just from a total, to watch how the public reacted then to being attacked compared to the malaise of now, how people felt anyway. It was just, and I did not realize that John Ford was on Midway during the Battle of Midway. He did a whole documentary about it. He happened to be there. It wasn't like,
wow.
Yeah, and the footage is insane. And the footage from D-Day that Capra's, I can't even begin to tell you, but they have over 100 hours of footage that they intersplice in showing. And some of them, like Capra spent most of his time in DC because he was making the Why We Fight series, which if you've never seen is unbelievable. George Stevens was on the front lines, and because I noticed these things, he was the 104th Infantry Division, Terry Allen's division, and he was there when they liberated Dachau, and he immediately switched from making documentary to thinking, I need to preserve as much of this as I can because the world will never be able to forget. So yeah, it just, their stories are amazing, and all of them came back changed. It was amazing.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
I can't recommend it highly enough. Kudos. And it was produced by Amblin Entertainment, which is Spielberg's. So
Right.
you know it's high. But what baby is he drinking the blood of? Because Steven Spielberg has not aged. Am I wrong, Terry? Have you seen him? He doesn't age.
Well, it's certain. You know how men are. I'm sorry. The men get to look. They get a little gray hair, and it's like, oh, distinguished.
No, John Huston aged, and Frank Capra aged.
Yeah, but they didn't look like they aged until they were already 90-something.
But Spielberg looks amazing. And one of the things I love about Spielberg is the man is a walking film historian. And he's such a he's so good. And Francis Ford Coppola it's always good to hear him.
Yeah, you know what, son, I'm with you. Keanu Reeves is another.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, Patrick Stewart's drinking some baby blood.
Patrick Stewart.
let's not. Who knows what dark lords he worships? But
I don't know. Keanu Reeves, I mean, I remember him from like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, so, and he's definitely has aged, but because back then he was a kid, but
Charlie Sheen's another one.
It's the Tiger Blood.
It is Tiger Blood.
See, now I think Charlie doesn't look as good as he used to. I think his shit's taken him down a couple notches. Yeah,
I was going to say that's the exhaustion.
Yes, he's not looking peppery. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, somebody who hasn't aged, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Anderson. If you can find a picture of her today, I swear to God, she looks like she just came off the set of Buffy.
Well, I saw a picture of her like last week or something with her kids, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, she looks the same.
Oh man. So that's kind of what you did this week, Nick?
Yeah, because there's still those other issues ongoing.
Ah, got it. What did I do? I worked. It was just one of those weeks where the days kind of blended into one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then of course there was April Fool's Day.
Yep, that there was.
Didn't partake, didn't even really go on social media.
Wise move. Actually, I got on early in the morning just because I really wanted to see what Think Geek did this year.
Oh yeah, what did they do?
Let's see, the lap swimming desk.
I like the hot pocket sleeping bag. That was kind of cool. And that actually might be turned into an actual product. I mean,
yeah, you know, the other one I really want them to make
smart. That's a smart thing.
The hot pocket sleeping bag is hilarious. Also, the other thing I hope is real is that's the picture of Matthew Anderson. Thank you.
Yeah, look at her. She hasn't aged.
I know, she's beautiful. Is the next the other thing I hope they make is the bicycle horn of Gondor.
Oh,
Jesus. Good Lord.
Sorry, I knocked my headset off.
You're having a day.
And then of course StarTrek.com.
What's new in the Star Trek universe? General news.
Oh, the Discovery. I did see that.
No.
Oh, I did see
that one's caused all kinds of shit. And people are like taking it for real.
People believed it. I just.
Well, the website also changed its date. The date that the article was published from the 1st to the 2nd.
Okay, that's funny.
I mean, it wasn't even a legit source, so why would they even? I don't know. It wasn't even like it was StarTrek.com. Now, StarTrek.com playing games was hilarious because StarTrek.com posted that Dayton Ward and Kevin Dillmore were breaking up.
Wow.
Which was hilarious.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that was.
Wow. It's 2 years in a row now. Dill Ward has become the focus of a April Fool's joke.
Isn't that awesome? I was so excited. The whole article about the two of them kind of busting up and then quotes from their wives. It was really funny. Yeah, Star Trek Online had theirs, which was the artisanal sonification system.
I think it had something to do with with the music in the game. I think that was the kind of what they were trying to sell it as.
Oh, too funny. The
I don't know.
catapult, yeah.
Hey, they had them in front of our banner on StarTrek.com.
I know, right?
Oh, turgid.
I wasn't unhappy with that, let me tell you.
That, wow. I'm a little
We're very
goosebumpy.
excited. Thank you, StarTrek.com. Very funny.
StarTrek.com also had the Kalis Brand Warrior energy drink, prune juice, heart of Targ, and Kipia's Claw are some of the ingredients. I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Did you guys see the what Mountain Vernon had done? They went
Yes,
all out.
the Klingon language thing.
These people, they built a website, a version of their website completely in Klingon, and then they took it a step further and created a video walkthrough with a Klingon tour guide.
It's awesome. Like
It's
like a Klingon
awesome.
docent.
Yeah. So you know, and they're speaking Klingon the whole time. That's some dedication to their prank. I'm saying that was awesome.
And it was also lighthearted and fun. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like, mean jokes.
Yeah. There was one other one that came across my desk. Let me find it really quick that I thought was interesting. Paramount looking into vertical screens for the next Star Trek. Apparently, this one people were trolling Garrett Wang with it. The Reddit, the Star Trek Reddit forum was sold to CBS All Access, and everyone was like congratulating Garrett Wang for that move or something. I don't.
Typical Reddit idiots.
But they were screaming with Garrett Wang about it, and I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's funny. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my god. Things that were not jokes, however.
Takei is not running for Congress.
Yeah, that exactly. That was a joke.
Yeah.
Holy crap, there's a lot of links this week, bud.
You're telling me.
There is one, I sent the link earlier in the year, and I've kind of broken my streak of only one link a year. Author Peter David.
Go for it.
Tell me a Star Trek story. Book news.
Peter David, Star Trek. He's so much more than just a Star Trek author, but of course the New Frontiers novels, comic books, all kinds of novels. He killed Janeway, so we will forever love him for that. He's in trouble, and he put this out himself, and it was not an April Fool's joke. He put it out before April Fool's. He's in some trouble, and it pained him to do it, but he posted it on March 31st. Mike put the link in the chat room, and it'll be on our webpage. He has some issues due to the IRS. Not really of his own making. Would you agree, Terry? I guess she doesn't. You got to press the button, Terry.
This is yours and Mike's gig.
Oh, all right. He needs to raise $88,000. So the link is in there, and he just asked. He's funny because he's like, is it possible? Well, I have 5,000 Facebook followers. If they each send $10, that would get me halfway. I have over 13,000 Twitter followers. If they each send 10, I'd be clear with money to pay taxes on the new income. He has all the lists in there, and it's a sad situation. And we all know that he had a stroke, 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah, it was about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. So if you can help Peter David.
I mean, the guy is definitely down on his luck. Let's just put it that way.
Which is sad because he's so prolific. But when Uncle Sam wants their thing, they want their thing. And what happened was it gets into a cycle where you owe them, you can pay them, but then you owe them again. And so Peter David, we're thinking of you. We're going to post it on our website for you. Mikey, anything?
No, you covered it.
All right.
Cool.
I don't think Terry approves because she had nothing to say.
I have, I just have a different opinion on it, but it's not, how do I say it? You never wish ill on anybody, right? I don't wish him any ill. I really don't. I just don't happen to actively support this. So there you have it. You guys can absolutely do what you want. It's a big country. So there you have it. It's amazing. We have different opinions and we still get along. But yeah, I don't wish anybody, especially him, anything, any ill, and I don't want anybody to burn. So it's important that the information get out. If you want to support him, great, and if you don't, that's okay too. Now getting to some of the other news that came out this week, and I really did have to say that my irony meter kind of broke this week entirely. There was some news that came out about Star Trek Discovery.
Grab the remote. Star Trek's on. Television news.
Yes, canceled after 2 episodes.
Where did that come from, by the way? Oh, React 35 is the name of the. Okay, please. No, it's the news that Rainn Wilson has been cast in Star Trek Discovery as Harry Mudd.
Wait a minute, I thought that was a April Fool's joke.
No, this came out before April Fool's.
Oh, okay. I thought it was an April Fool's joke.
Nope, it's real.
Well, look, I know how we feel about canon and all of that, but Harry Mudd is kind of...
So this is kind of why I brought it up, because I'm kind of under the impression there's a bunch of people who are actually upset by this. I was thrilled, but how are you feeling, Nick?
I think it's going to be ironic when people say he has a hipster mustache, even though the character dates back to the 60s.
Oh my God, so true, right?
I'm just saying. Think about it. Harry Mudd was the first hipster.
I thought it was funny. Go ahead.
He's too thin to be Harry Mudd.
This is a younger.
This is also 10 years before TOS.
It's only 10 years. Please.
And then he
Nobody
married
can
Stella.
get that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, tell me about that. Don't even talk to me about how fat you can get in 10 years.
Never mind.
And then he married Stella. Or
that's a good
exactly
point,
right.
That's a good point.
Who knows? This might be the beginning of the relationship when Harry met Stella.
Oh, that one was painful. Harry Mudd selling women before it was cool. Nice, son. He was also dealing drugs before it was cool.
Yeah, and
Harry Mudd, really a pioneer.
Hi, Casey. Well, one of the things that I thought was funny is that the pervasive attitude or negative attitude about his casting, or the fact that they're using Harry Mudd at all, came out from some boards and some things I was following on Friday, and a bunch of people are like, why can't they come up with original characters, man? All right, that happens to be the whole thing. Now, while in the big scheme of things, I would have agreed with them at the beginning when we all said, gee, I really would have liked to have seen a show set after Nemesis. We didn't get that. We were told the show was going to be set 10 years before TOS. I would have been disappointed if Mudd wasn't a character. So I thought also most of the people who were claiming that they were upset that they weren't using original characters, and this is where my irony meter broke, tended to come from Axanar fans.
Who?
People.
I don't know what those are.
Yeah, right. Those people who wanted a whole new series based before TOS featuring characters in the original series. Go fig.
Who are they?
People who like a certain 20-minute fan production and paid $1.5 million to get nothing else.
There's people really that stupid?
And they're giving them more money for a studio they'll never be able to use.
Yeah, not really, though.
Go fig. Be that as it may, that's where this attitude, most of the attitude I saw, was coming from. And I thought to myself, do you even look at yourself in the mirror? Do you even look at yourself and go, gee, this is the kind of show I really wanted, and you're just hating it because it's not Axanar, which isn't anybody else's fault but Alec Peters, because he didn't use your money to actually film a fucking show.
Who?
Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it's funny, Would I have liked to have seen in a completely original show? Yes. But the moment we found out that it was going to be set 10 years before TOS, I want to see some of the characters in TOS because I want to know how they got there. I want the Enterprise we were supposed to get. So there.
Do you think, just for conversation's sake, since it's 10 years before the original series, when, is it Piker or April, is in command of the Enterprise.
I think it's Pike. It might be April. I don't know.
Do you think at any point if the series... Well, first of all, the series really can't go more than 10 years because then it bumps up against
And
TOS. But
yeah.
think we'll get some Carol Marcus action?
Hell, just like I said, I just want somebody to say, yes, we better get some Carol. Well, I don't know. The show's not about Kirk. The show's going to be about...
Right. That's why.
So I don't know.
She wasn't involved with him, so...
She better be damn well on...
What, are you going to riot if she's not?
No, I want her to be... I want her to be kind of missing, not necessarily known where she's at.
No Marcus, no peace.
Vague mentions of a Commodore Reyes while they build rumors of a new space station.
See Terry marching in front of the studios. No Marcus, no peace. No Marcus, no peace.
No, I just want vague, cryptic acknowledgments that there's some secret space station, rumors of a space station being built on the frontier in Vanguard.
If you are listening to us, Discovery people, and I know you are, I would not be opposed to hearing of an Admiral Al Rivera.
That'd be fun.
That would be the ultimate in inside geek awesomeness.
Are you trying to make the universe implode?
Oh, Mike, come on. I didn't say Admiral my doppelganger. I said Admiral Al.
Well, you have... I mean, it's like... It's not just a temporal anomaly, but it's like a multiverse.
Come on, Al looks like an admiral, though. He's tall, he's bald, he's got the look.
Got the sharp goatee.
Wait a minute.
He's got the goatee.
Isn't that what's going on in timelines? You have like the multiverse like collapsing in on itself and the timeline collapsing. I haven't played that in
so long.
Oh.
I haven't either.
I got so bored.
But you're right. I think it's funny. I don't know. Once again, I just want some kind of a vague, off-the-cuff reference to Vanguard, just to say it kind of exists. That would be fun.
Let me amend. Commodore Al Rivera, who answers to Admiral Amy Rivera, because we all know, and Admiral Zero. Oh, Zero.
Do you really see Zero as an admiral? Because I don't.
I see her as Harry Mudd.
I don't. I see her.
She's no yeoman.
I'll tell you, she's definitely a rogue of some kind. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So, what else? We have a lot of links.
Chris Obi.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Obi-O-E-O.
It's bringing up the link.
Sorry, I was doing Morris Day.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to push the damn button. I'm sitting here talking with my hands and
I see
no button. Chris Obi, when he responds to something, he does so with a video usually, and he responded to someone's tweet this last week about a new fan theory stating that they believe that he's the Klingon Chancellor, and the video that he responds with is something to the effect of "I'm the king. He's the Klingon king," or something like that. I don't know. So it was funny. Again, it's just he was just kind of sort of playing off of someone's tweet. Now, we don't know if that was confirmation or not, but he was just having fun with it.
You know what? It kind of makes sense to me, considering the rumors that we're hearing about the storyline and some of the ideas that are coming through regards to the Klingon relationships with the Federation at the time. Also, the fact that Sarek is a character in this show. And if Sarek is an ambassador, he's got to be an ambassador to somebody.
Yeah, and that kind of leads...
the ambassador.
Bow chicka.
That kind of leads to the other theory that's floating around this week.
And that is?
The Treaty of Armis. The Shellyak.
You know, when we discuss this and all the theories, we sound like the Alex Jones show. The conspiracies.
A little bit. We will admit that these are just rumors, but except we don't do what Alex Jones does, and that's believe in them.
But you know what's funny is the Trek fandom has just as many conspiracy theories.
We're all just looking forward to a new show and trying to figure out what it's going to be like.
No, I wasn't saying it in a bad way. It just hit me all of a sudden. We ought to be on Coast to Coast AM.
Well, when we report on what is actually what they actually release, but
Mike,
then
I was joking, Mike.
I know, Mike. I didn't get it either. Namely because
Warp to Warp AM, nice.
Well, the Treaty of Armins. Who comes up with this shit? I'm not to say that it comes true, but all right. What's
Well,
this? In an attempt to decode the plot of Star Trek Discovery, fans have begun piecing together different sources that's such a Trekkie thing to do. I love it.
You know, there's somebody with a giant whiteboard putting everything down
right.
with yarn connecting.
The problem with that site with Red Shirt Always Dies, which bugs me, is because they have autoplay on their fucking ads. So fuck you, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is, the Shellyak, well, let me think about that. The
time
treaty
frame is the time frame works. I mean, it's supposed to be 10 year. It's supposed to be
80 years before TNG, right?
Which puts it right around the time of Discovery. But if I remember correctly, Fuller had said that there was the reference that kind of spun off the show was something that was mentioned in TOS. So the Treaty of Armins does not fit that particular detail.
Because remember, the original thought was Romulans, because he said that.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the first thing people said.
I mean, so it's, I mean, it could be, but it couldn't be. Maybe the TOS reference was a red herring. Maybe this is just. Then again, this is fan speculation. So this really has no.
Yeah, but Fuller's not JJ.
True. So I'm more willing to put weight behind what Fuller said than this particular theory, but they do make a good point. The timeline fits.
Okay, now that we've brought Fuller up as a topic or in a topic of discussion, I want to make him and his exit from Discovery a topic of discussion. One of the things that was discussed or brought out this week from fandom and from other boards and everything is the fact where there's this idea. Oh, I love the Johnny Carson ref. Well done, Matthew Anderson. Well done. Is the persistent fan rumor that Fuller left because CBS didn't want to make the show have an older look about it or have that 60s sensibility about it, that they wanted to make it a more modern look of a show. Where this rumor came from, I don't know.
That doesn't.
I don't think he from what I heard, from what I understand, he was pushing for something more modern anyways.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. So I'm not sure where this rumor about him wanting and having a disagreement with CBS about making the show have more modern sensibilities. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. And personally, I thought to myself, that doesn't sound right.
That would be an awful petty reason to leave.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, granted, there is the artistic temperament and standing by your guns and all that, but I don't think he would have gotten involved with it if I think that would have been ironed out long before.
I think he was just too busy is why he left. And that's what he was saying happened. So that's what I think the truth of the matter is, and people are just looking a little too deeply. Because he's done some amazing things visually in some of his previous work. I mean, look at Pushing Daisies at the time. I mean, that was phenomenal. So
I like Digging Deep. That's a deep cut in radio.
I think he would have done extraordinary things, making Star Trek Discovery look more modern for today's audience.
Now,
I think he would have done amazing things.
How many people are going to complain like they did with Enterprise? Oh, it looks too futuristic compared to TOS.
Of course.
That's what this is that's why I brought this up, is there's a lot of people who are going to be doing that stupid shit again, which is it looks too modern. Are we ever going to be able to get over that?
No.
Read Rise of the, I think it's the Romulan War Enterprise novels. They explain why the difference in technology between the two series, and it does have to do with Romulans. They develop a weapon of sorts that, based on the newer technology, basically turns ships into little remote controlled RC cars.
Yeah.
So they had to go to analog systems in order to prevent Romulans from being able to control their digital systems. I mean, in the novel, they explain it a lot better than I did. But in a nutshell, I think that's kind of why they had to go take a step back in technology rather than, and why it looks that way. But again, that's only novels retconning what we saw.
What looks like it is. I think that, to be honest with you, I think that Star Trek fans just need to lighten the fuck up and realize that, technology has moved on since the 60s and that it's okay to actually think of a futuristic show with
Yeah.
futuristic technology for the time that we live in. That's
Mhm.
all there is to it.
Yeah.
If here's the, it's just it. You just have to understand that, jelly bean buttons and toggle switches just aren't going to cut it anymore for a new generation of fans that they're trying to elicit.
You know what? Go ahead and try and have the crew in mini skirts and watch how fast the protests start.
Well, they kind of already did that with the movies. I mean, the fact is
Yeah, but
the fact,
a
the
movie
fact
is different
you
animal than a weekly
no.
TV
The fact
series.
is, realistically, we all know mini skirts are stupid, but they're cute. That's all there is to it. If you're gonna have a crewman on a ship where you're probably going to have to get down on your knees from time to time,
Yeah, you are.
you're not
never
going to
mind.
want to have bare legs. That's all there is to it.
Well,
It's dumb.
depends on the crewman.
And there you have it. Just roll my eyes. Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting for Sun to post something.
I'm just saying, it's not just women who get down on their knees there, bud.
I didn't say it was.
All right.
Why do you think the scant was invented?
So men can get dirty knees too?
Yes.
There you go. Equal rights.
That's right.
I like the idea of having. That's
Equal
why I liked
opportunity
Enterprise so much.
exploiter.
I loved the fact that the women wore the fucking jumpsuits too, and they look great. And T'Pol looked better in the jumpsuit than she did in the stupid stretchy thing anyway.
Oh yeah.
I just the
yeah,
women it's the same thing as Troy, right? Troy looked better in the uniform. Women look
without a
better in
doubt.
the uniform. Even 7 of 9 look better in the uniform.
Oh, remember Kira in the uniform compared to her
Yes.
Bajoran?
Yes, but the men were wearing the same stupid stretchy shit too.
Yeah.
Because
But let's give props. The Tribble episode, Dax in the original series outfit was kind of spectacular.
it was, and that's why I'm like, I like.
Even O'Brien.
You're not going to
drooled.
hear much shit about the miniskirt from me.
Even O'Brien drooled.
Yeah, I'm like, the miniskirt's cute. What am I going to do?
I thought the best thing about that was fucking Bashir's hair.
That's great.
It was
The
so
comb
fun.
over.
Yes. He looked like Eddie Haskell.
He definitely looked like an old man. I mean, for being a young guy, he looked like an old man.
You know what it reminded me of? When on The Simpsons, when they comb Bart's hair for church and he's got the comb over like that.
Too funny.
That's what it reminded me of. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you saw.
We have a Kajiro sighting.
Well, this idea that somehow having a show needing to look less advanced than TOS is really just kind of sad, and I think
Tunnel
the fandom
vision.
just has to learn to get over it.
It's tunnel vision.
There is this, it's a sense of protection. I get where they're coming from. There is I feel the same way sometimes about the TNG, right? There's a sense of protection that you get about the characters that you love, and you don't want to see them tarnished. But as far as I'm concerned, having certain looks to something is ridiculous. If they made a show set in the same time period of TNG and they made it look more modern than TNG, and they got rid of the fucking pastels and the
and the check-in desk on
and
the
the
bridge.
carpeted whatever, I'd be okay with that. Actually, I would prefer it to be more modernized, because that's the way I prefer to see those characters in the future.
Only Sun. Can't be True Check without Quatloos. 5 Quatloos only human.
Oh, damn. That Lady Gaga outfit is just rocking, man. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I wonder if Lady Gaga pays them royalties. Or Katy Perry, for that fact.
No, she pays a hot dog on a stick.
Oh my God, Terry. So we were driving the other day and we got The Beat came on by the Go-Go's, and I
Yes.
totally was in the opening credits scene of Fast Times.
Oh my God, that's right. No, that movie.
That mall is gone, isn't it?
The Galleria?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone.
Well, one thing we can always be glad about, Vasquez Rocks will always be there.
Yeah.
Until the
Because man,
earthquake.
because man didn't build it in LA.
Until the earthquake.
Has anybody ever seen LA Story with Steve Martin?
Oh, yeah.
All right, that one scene where he's driving Victoria Tennant around and he goes, some of these homes are over 20 years old. That's Los Angeles in a nutshell.
Look at Roger Carmel.
All right.
You know who I would have picked to play him? Billy Gardell, the guy from Mike and Molly.
I don't think I ever saw that show.
You got to see it. Okay, real quick scroll. You
He's
know how I
also
feel
in. He's also doing the new show Sun Records.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. About the Sun Records?
Yes, about the Sun Records, which is Elvis. I'm like a few episodes.
Elvis, Johnny
in.
Cash, Carl Perkins.
Yeah, Elvis just recorded his first hit.
What is this on, Mike?
Oh, I don't know. I watch it like on replays.
I'll have to find it.
Wow, that was Skyping really bad, so it may be me.
You know how I
don't
feel
know.
about reboots, right?
Yes.
But if they ever rebooted The Honeymooners, Billy Gardell is just he would be the perfect Ralph Cramden. And if you watch Mike and Molly, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He grew up idolizing Jackie Gleason, and you can kind of see it. But his timing, everything, he would be a great Ralph Cramden.
He plays the Colonel in Sun Records.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I've got to find this. It's on demand or on a streaming service?
No, it's on a weekly show, but I watch it through a streaming service.
CMT. Oh, it's on Country Music Television. Oh, that's what it used to stand for. Oh my God, that's
Wow.
awesome. It's a good show, Mike. You recommend it?
I'm enjoying it.
Okay. See, people, we all have layers.
Like onions.
So, Mike, you put a link in here, which I thought was pretty funny, that actually relates more to last week's episode than it does this week.
Which is why I had put it in there. You're referring to the Borg one, right?
Yeah, and I think Nick should hear the headline, the lead on this, which is TV Legends. How did a writer's strike change the Borg forever?
Oh, God.
I think they listened to our show and then wrote the article.
G&T, making history.
It's the G&T.
I found that it was an interesting read, though. I mean, some of the things that they were looking to do with the Borg,
resources,
including they were supposed to be an insect race and all this other stuff. So
yeah they were going to be those parasites from that gross episode,
which we just watched a portion of the other day. Conspiracy.
Yeah,
that's an interesting article. The link will be, of course, in our show notes. Comic book resources, TV Legends. How did a writer's strike change the Borg forever?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool. Sorry, I'm trying to read at the same time. I'm a bad TV or radio show host.
Oh my God! It would have brought the Romulans together with the Federation to fight the Borg.
Yeah. Darn writer's strike.
And what would you have thought?
I think still reading. It definitely would have taken things in different direction with them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. How would you have liked that, Mike? Would you have enjoyed seeing the Borg going in a completely different direction?
Well, the way that they were handled in TNG, I mean, they were scary enough as it is, and by making them something other than what they were, it's really hard to say. But I don't think they would have been as scary. I mean, if they were the insect things, we saw them pop last season, in the previous season, so. I don't know. I don't think they would have come across nearly as frightening. Because one of the things about the Borg is they represented a path that humanity could actually follow. Okay, and that's what was actually scary. I mean, the Borg we saw ourselves in there wrapped in technology. This was like a worst case scenario of where technology can take us. And that is, I think, what makes them even more frightening. And if they were anything other than that, I think they would have lost some of that, some of that appeal, some of that relevance, whatever you want, however way you want to describe it. But that's my thoughts.
I I agree with you to a point. I think it's hard to say that because it all depends on the writing. Because the little bug things had that fear, much like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that something had taken over them, which can be, and we saw that with the changelings in Deep Space Nine, which was very disturbing.
Yeah, the only way that you would know your enemy is if you could identify, if there was some way to identify them, hence the blood test for the changelings or the tail nub in the
with the
conspiracy bugs.
Yeah, so well, I agree with you, but it just
See,
makes me sad
the
because the
difference,
Romulans could have been a much bigger part, and
Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah.
once again, bent
the
over and painted tits on the backs of the Romulans.
well, the difference though between that is perspective. I mean, you have in terms of changelings and the conspiracy bugs, it's other people. Okay, it's something that happens to other people. I mean, you're not the one that's actually, it can't actually happen to you if you're seeing it, you know, if you're the
But
one recognizing it for what it is. It can't happen to you.
but here's the
Whereas
thing
with
with
the
it.
Borg, what makes the Borg even more frightening is it very well could be you. It
But
could very well infect you. It could very well, I don't know.
well, here's the thing. Okay,
I'll go back to sleep now.
no,
No.
it's a good discussion because going through the situation I'm going through right now, where I don't know who I can trust in a certain aspect of my life, and there is a certain amount of paranoia going on because of it. And Terry, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
I gotta tell you, it's pretty fucking scary when you feel like you're all alone and you cannot trust a single person around you. It's deeply terrifying, and that's like what a lot of Hitchcock fear came from, not knowing who you could trust around you.
I'm not saying that isn't frightening, because that certainly is.
And with the with the conspiracy bugs, you still are in there. You've been overtaken, much like, but without the cool outfits.
Without the cool outfit.
Without the cool outfits.
The thing with I think what scares, well, there's two different types of fear that come with the two villains, so to speak, or the two different types of villains. With the Borg, you were supposed to get the feeling that they were like locusts, that they just overtook you with sheer numbers and power and ate and moved on and ate and moved on and ate and moved on. And then
But
they
that's only
just
part of
leave.
it. I think Mike's side
Why?
of it is also correct, that they assimilate you
Right.
and
And get bigger and bigger and bigger and just wipe out and leave a path of destruction, of wide
yeah.
area destruction, where changelings and shapeshifters or conspiracy bugs come in and actually start to rule from within without you ever knowing
Right.
that there's, so it's two different types of
Yes.
fear.
And it is two very different types of fear, but for me, I think the one that is more frightening is the one that can possibly affect me directly, you know. Whereas with changelings and the conspiracy, but it's all happening to other people. Yes, it's affecting me, but it's affecting me as a tangent, as a byproduct of that. Whereas with the
You're
Borg,
manipulated by and not actually
yes,
taken over directly. I see.
and whereas
it
with
does
the
affect you
Borg, it
directly.
could actually take me over. I could become them.
But it also, I think with the bugs, I really like this debate. I think with the bugs, it goes to both sides of that though, Mike, because one, they could take you over, but two, like the changelings in DS9,
I'm not
they are
important
in
enough for them to
positions
want to
of,
take over.
you don't know that.
What was it? You weren't wet enough?
I'm not important enough for them to want to take over.
I don't believe that.
With
I
the
think
Borg, it doesn't matter who you are.
Sure, it does. If they find if they find you not worthy, they just kill you. Whereas the other
That is
ones,
true.
whereas with the bugs, they could be in positions of power where they do things that directly affect you, making laws, doing things like that, which
my
Yeah, but I'm not me as Mike Medeiros living in the United States. My personal life, where I am in my little world, I am not very likely to be a candidate to get a conspiracy bug
okay.
stuck in my body.
Here's where I'll take you on that. Okay, if we were looking at this in a modern day kind of way, saying that somehow there was some kind of an infection that took over our leaders, you would become a threat to them the moment you started to challenge it.
Exactly. Think of the French Resistance in World War II. These were people that were just shopkeepers or whatever, but boy, did they become a threat the day they were able to just sketch the outline of an emplacement. And that single act of being an artist and being able to sketch made them a threat. You are a talented with computers and your imagination. You could be a threat in that sense.
Therefore, you would become a target and they would find a way to take you over and infect you with a bug before you became that threat entirely. Or if you became such a
To
threat, they would
silence me.
kill you because of it.
Exactly, just to silence you. And
I.e.,
think about it. Think
but
about it if they had gone the route with working with the Romulans. What effect that would have had on the Romulan Empire? Because they're already living where there's a secret police, and they have to watch every step they make. Now it's even more deep.
Well, you can also throw the Undine into this same category as the conspiracy bugs, and
yeah.
so. But again, their first choice, their first tier of infections are going to be as high as possible. We saw
Yes.
that with the conspiracy bugs. We saw that with my mind is slipping. I would be at a lower tier. Yes, I could be a threat eventually, but I'm not I'm not. I'd be something that they would react to rather than something that they would go out for in their initial attempt to take people over.
But the more of, remember V?
I've seen it a few times and a couple years back. But what specifically about V?
Do you think that the Doctor was originally a target? No, but once she became a member of the Resistance.
Yeah, but I would call that like a secondary or a third tier.
I don't think you're understanding how important going after Resistance is to a fascist type
Right.
group. I don't think you understand how they. Princess Leia.
The resistance happens as a result of something they've already done. It's not their primary. There is no resistance until after they've done something.
And then but remember, Princess Leia, the more
maybe
you
people
tighten
like
your
us
grip,
yeah.
the more star systems slip through your fingers.
Right. In a level, you are correct. You wouldn't necessarily, or we wouldn't necessarily be in the first wave of
You would, Terry.
infestation.
You would, just because of your mouth.
I'm pretty mouthy. But you're right. In a takeover like that, what you want to do is you want to infiltrate at the highest levels, i.e., Hydra in the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
But look at what Hydra does when they finally get the guns, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take out anybody who could possibly be a threat.
Yes, but that's once you start getting your claws into the main areas of power. After that, it becomes protecting what you already have. And
with the Borg, it's just all out annihilation. I get it.
It does not with the Borg. It does not matter. If you're deemed worthy, if your biological,
distinctiveness,
is worthy of supporting them, they'll take you as a drone no matter what role you play in you could be. It doesn't matter if you're high level or low level. If you're a nobody or somebody. If they can use you, they're going to use you, and it does that. There's nothing.
Yeah, and Kojiro has a good point, and it's something that we need to point out when it comes to the conspiracy bugs. The conspiracy bugs got to the top levels by infecting the low levels first, i.e., look at what the Admiral was trying to do to Riker.
Yeah.
Why try to... They were trying to infect Riker. Why? He wasn't a high level. He wasn't even as high level as the Admiral who was trying to infect him. It was trying to support and continue the support for getting in there and getting to Picard and others.
Yes, and it could be argued that Riker, it would be kind of different than, say, that junior cadet that's on loan from Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, access had something to do with it, yes.
Yeah.
Well, but then you make the argument that that cadet that's on the cruise
Got them on the ship, yeah.
he goes back to the academy, and it spreads through the academy. So now you've got all these people entering the fleet at low levels that are under the command, and then spread into the ships or the bases they go to.
That the low level could be a means of infiltrating, get your foot in the door kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's systemic infection. It works just the same way with disease and cancer. I mean, what those things that tend to blossom and take down an organism are the things that can grab a foothold anywhere in a quiet place where you never or rarely look. Get into the
3 times I had Ebola,
Oh Jesus, that fucking freaks me out. If you've never seen and the band played on and you see the first 5 minutes of that show, you want to know what Ebola is, that's fucking 5 minutes of that show. It tells you what it is. It's horrible. Oh my God.
And that kind of was the Hanna-Barbera version of it.
Yep. But yeah,
and I don't
Mike,
mean
you're
that
right.
as a slight to the movie, because it's a great movie and an amazing book. If you've never read it, please read it. It's the fairest book you'll ever read.
But Mike, you're right. I mean,
both are terrifying.
Yeah.
Both the Borg and the conspiracy books are
agreed,
terrifying.
and I do not dispute that. I'm just saying on a scale of magnitude, I think the Borg are much worse. That's the only thing I was trying to say.
And Kojiro said the same thing. Regardless of enemy, having the Romulans having to kind of team up with the Federation and its allies as to take on a foe would have produced a lot of really great stories.
Yeah, but once again, the Romulans get bent over and treated like they're
I would even say
drunk
that's a
person
disservice.
in a Rhode Island bar.
I would even say that's a disservice and a shameful disservice to the Klingons and the Federation as well, that we never got to explore those relationships. And, and one reason why I really was hoping that any new series that we would get would be a post destruction of Romulus series, so we could see those relationships with Romulans. But seeing as though we're not going to get those stories, we're going to be pre-TOS, maybe we'll still... I don't know. We'll see how it goes, because by this point in time, we're not supposed to know what Romulans look like.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we won't be seeing Romulans on the screen. There might even be a Romulan on the... Whoops, I hit my mic. There might even be a Romulan on board one of the ships, impersonating Vulcans. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I hope that they definitely give us more points of view in this new show. I wouldn't mind seeing what's going on at the Klingon High Council. I wouldn't mind seeing what's going on in the Romulan Senate. I wouldn't mind seeing what's going on at the UFP headquarters. I just don't want a 3-camera show on a ship anymore. The world is broader than that. I want to see that broader world.
Now, Terry, how will you feel if they do it in documentary style like BSG was?
I'm not sure. Part of me, the reason why I'm not sure about that idea is because I don't want it to just be a BSG knockoff.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean in the style, the filming style.
Shaky cam?
Not shaky cam, but not 3-camera either. More
following
almost
the action?
Yeah. As if
I'd be okay with that.
As if a cameraman were just following them around.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, to be honest with you. I don't need...
I'm kind of with the announcement of Rainn Wilson, I'm kind of hoping it's more like The Office if we're going to go documentary style.
Not that documentary. Although
that would be hilarious.
Speaking of this, that reminds me of Parks and Rec. Did you see what Chris Pratt posted about Guardians 2?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, I gotta find it. Go ahead, because he is so hilarious.
The idea of how this is going to be, what I am expecting from Discovery is going to be a serial drama that carries the entire story arc from the 1st through the 13th episode, because I think that's what we're getting, right? 13?
Yeah, and they have said that it's supposed to be like chapters in a novel, with each episode being somewhat standalone, yet having the threads, push forward with every episode. So The
Yeah, I'm with you.
episodic thing makes me a little nervous, but
Yeah,
I
me
think that's
too.
really the only way that they can. I think that they could actually be able to release it as a weekly thing. For me, I hate stories where the show is telling one large story. Okay, like most Marvel series. I think releasing a Marvel series week by week, because of the way that the stories are set up, would actually hurt it more than just
It, it, I'm with you. It's either got it. I think we're past the idea of an episodic, week by week episodic, and I think we're past the idea of the curtain rod DS9 type of thing, where it's episodic with kind of this nebulous, thin storyline that kind of carries the entire show. It's got to be bigger than that. I think it has to be bigger than that, or I won't care.
Yeah.
So yes, and as much as Sun says serial drama like Days of Our Life or General Mills Hospital, using serial with the C, I get it. But you know what? That's what BSG was. That's what a lot of other current scripted dramas are. They need to keep, and in a pay situation, they have got to bring those people back month after month. They're going to get that money up front for the first month, but they'll definitely cancel after the second month if they don't like the first 4 episodes. So they've got to hook people in the first 4 episodes.
Or cancel and then wait till the whole series has come out, then just subscribe for the last
for a
month
binge.
for a binge. I mean,
I've
ideally,
actually
yes,
thought of
they
doing
want
that.
people. They want people to
They want
subscribe
people
and
to
stay.
they want people to pay more than 1 month.
Exactly.
Mike, I actually thought about doing that. Waiting until they were all released and then binging it.
I thought about it too, but knowing how I watch Star Trek, especially new Trek, I'm going to be watching that every new episode like 6 or 7 times before the next episode comes out. I know.
Oh, Mikey.
But
All right, Terry.
okay, so here's the thing: you don't care about spoilers. How would you deal with it if you decided to wait until the very end? You know you're going to hear about every episode.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I do care about spoilers. What I don't care is people.
Well, that's what I mean. It would put you in a position. It would be.
If I come across it, I come across it. If I don't, I don't. That's how I look at it.
It's just a risk you're willing to take.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
There's a reason that I go to like the Marvel movies on opening day because I don't want to be spoiled by those.
Right. So, and that's the thing. Are you going to be paying for the month to month on CBS All Access?
I don't know yet.
I have been.
Yeah, so have I.
Is the Honeymooners on it?
I think it is. I have to look.
Oh, see, that might make it worthwhile. To me, it might be worthwhile for some of those really old, like, is CBS Playhouse on it?
I have to look. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And to be honest with you, I'm on this beat up old laptop that doesn't have it.
Yeah, it's just...
if it's content that CBS produced, not necessarily aired, but if it's stuff that they produced and own.
Yeah, because Cheers is on there, right? Because didn't they do Cheers, CBS? Even though it was on NBC?
There's so much stuff there.
There's so much stuff.
It's hard. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. But there's so much stuff. I mean, it's worth it just to take a look, subscribe, take a look around, and I mean, you're gonna find something. You're gonna find.
Yeah.
There's
I
plenty
have no doubts
there.
about that. Yeah, I have no doubts. Now, Terry,
there's all the new content coming out as well. So I mean, there's just so much.
So Terry, when they revealed the IMAX poster for Guardians 2, this is what Chris Pratt put out. And I'm just saying this because this is the kind of fandom I love. On May 5th, the greatest movie in the history of movies is coming. He put this on Facebook. There has never been and will never be again a movie like this. Seriously, ever heard of Citizen Kane? We're much better. Seriously. Our movie just tested over 1 million points. Rotten Tomatoes already has it at 234% fresh. Hashtag got Vol 2, hashtag Guardians of the Galaxy Vol 2, will win every movie award and about 39 Olympic gold medals in swimming, gymnastics, the skiing event with the gun, X Games, snowmobiling, and everything. It will win the World Cup and about 7 Super Bowl rings. Sorry, Tom Brady. James Gunn will be elected president of the world. They will add the faces of the Guardians to Mount Rushmore for sure. We're going to get a planet. May 5th will become a national holiday. Everyone will get pregnant. Candy will fall from the sky. Global warming will stop. Dinosaurs will come back to life, which unlike some movies might tell you is actually a really good thing because they won't flip out and kill people. Instead, they'll be your awesome pets. And then he signed it humbly, Star-Lord.
I love it. Okay,
He
so
is so great.
Nick,
Since I put a link in
I was
the
going to
chat
say
room.
CBS All Access. You do get Cheers. You do get Frasier.
Yeah, even though they were on NBC.
You do get. Sorry, I can't scroll and hit Control at the same time. It just makes my screen big.
Yeah,
I Love Lucy.
of course.
Hawaii Five-O, all of the originals.
Right.
I'm scrolling through a lot of stuff. Oh, Mission Impossible.
Oh.
Nice. Perry Mason.
I haven't seen that ever.
Of course, all of the Star Treks.
Right.
The Twilight Zone, Twin
Mhm.
Peaks,
Oh, and Twin Peaks was on ABC.
Taxi,
Wow.
Wings.
Isn't it funny that they made it, but it was on other networks?
Well, that was CBS. It was Paramount Studios, CBS
Yeah.
Paramount Studios. That's what it was before the Viacom split.
Mike put something in there in the chat room about IMAX and Warner Brothers form VR production pack for Justice League.
I want to play a Star Trek game. Gaming news.
I'm just going to say this, and George can yell at me all he wants. I don't care. Once again, Warner Brothers misses the point. You know, a color palette in your movies is nice.
Oh my God! So you took. Thank you.
And when 90% of your gravitas comes from Wonder Woman, you're one, that's awesome because she deserves. You really don't. And stop with but when Terry used to rail about teal and orange, that is nothing compared to this almost black and white that they are doing. It is so, you can't even compare to
It's
how
so
Marvel does
gray.
theirs, because it's like Technicolor IMAX versus pan and scan black and white.
I agree.
Well, that's not why I had posted
No,
that
but
link.
it
But
just
I understand your arguments.
it's just
and I don't disagree.
they learned the wrong lesson from Christopher Nolan's movies. Christopher Nolan's movies were a very distinct character with a very distinct, disturbed viewpoint. As much as I hate Superman, look at the Superman in Supergirl. I like that Superman a lot. I got goosebumps from that guy and the way he's handled in that show. Compare it to Man of Steel, which is really sad because I like the actor that's playing him. What's his
Cavill
name?
or Cavill?
Yeah, Cavill. Yeah, I like him. Just like I like Brandon Routh is so charismatic in DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and he was wasted in Superman Returns. But when Wonder Woman is 90% of your
Are we okay? I want to get to that in a second, Nick. I want to hear what Mike has to say about this VR production pack, and then we're going to get back to the trailer that came out for Justice League. Okay?
Thank you.
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
sorry, Mike.
The reason why I had posted this was IMAX and Warner Brothers. Yes, they're going to be creating content for those films. But what I found more interesting is there will be, and there currently are, a few locations already in existence, but kind of like a VR theater. You go in, you can play VR games in IMAX. That I think is what attracted me to the article, and what they're doing. So this is going to be, it could be in an IMAX theater, it could be a separate facility across the street, which I think the current examples are. But this is a place that you go to play VR games without actually having to own VR equipment. You lay down some money and you get to play for so long.
There's actually a new one of those in
kind
a
of like a
shopping
VR
mall near our
arcade.
house.
It's like a VR arcade.
A VR arcade. There's
That's a
one
great
in
idea.
the Cottonwood Mall where now you walk in. I think there's probably 10 VR bays that they have set up. It's real simple. There's probably 10 by 10 bays where you can go in. You put on the VR gear and the handsets and everything, and you've got this kind of open, safe space to where you can move around and play whatever game is in. And it's taking up a lot of the stores that have moved out because nobody wants brick and mortar stuff. So a lot of malls are dying. And this takes up it used to be like a Limited Express, and now it's a VR arcade.
The other day I was wearing my VR and I was just looking around at this room, this cave I was in the VR. I tripped over my couch.
It's so easy. It's so easy. It
So
really is.
I learned to put the back of my legs against the couch so that I could still turn around and everything, but just use that kind of as an anchor so I knew where I was at all times, so I didn't walk forward into my TV and knock it over and get killed by my wife.
But it's an interesting idea that they're forming this pact with regards to a movie. It's like that they're seeing.
Oh, it's smart. It's smart.
Well, they're acknowledging the advancement of the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's great cross promotion for both IMAX and the studio and for the VR companies.
Well, what this particular deal kind of means is you have basically a VR arcade in IMAX that is going to be producing exclusive content because through the Warner Brothers connection.
I love that.
But also at these locations, at the IMAX locations that they're going to be making Star Trek Bridge Crew available. So that's why I thought it was appropriately for gaming news. But that's the reason why I wanted to throw that in.
Okay, wait, you're going to have to repeat what's going to be, who's going to make this available?
IMAX is coming out with their own VR arcades, for a lack of a better term. And Warner is going to be producing exclusive content for them. So that's part of what this deal is. But there was one line in there, I think it was like one line, that said that that lends itself to the VR arcade idea, is that you'll be able to play other VR games as well as the exclusive content. And one of the examples that they suggested that will be available at these at the IMAX VR arcade
games. Okay.
Is Star Trek Bridge Crew.
See, and that'll be interesting because Star Trek Bridge Crew is going to be available to be played in like 3 different ways. As a solo, where the computer will generate your 3 other players and will perform them as NPCs, and the only thing you'll have to do is whatever selection or role you choose. Then you'll have the opportunity to play with 2 or 3 other players. And I'm wondering whether or not, if you want to play it. I'm sorry, what?
Isn't there also the network mode as well?
Well, that's what I mean. 2 or 3 other players.
Yeah,
so
they don't have to be on site.
No. And I don't know how that's going to work in an arcade. Are they going to allow you to access the net like that and access multiple players outside of that?
They might have a server there.
Well, I'm just saying, usually that's, I don't know. I'm that'd be cool.
Kind of like a karaoke VR where you pick the thing.
I think you'd be able to walk into an IMAX VR arcade in Albuquerque, Terry. Nick would be able to walk into one in Maryland. I'd be able to walk into one somewhere, wherever the hell there's a IMAX near me, and we'd be able to play the same game of Star Trek Bridge Crew together. I think that's kind of
that would be fucking awesome.
I think what this all points to, though, seriously, holodecks are becoming closer and closer.
Which brings me to another link that I had found this week regarding kind of technology news.
Hey, I saw that on Star Trek. Technology news.
Which talks about holodecks from science fiction to a new reality. That's the name of the article. And basically it identifies the key components that are required to get a working holodeck, and then it breaks it down and tells us whether or not we're there yet, whether we're almost there, or we still have to figure that bit out. Let me get the article open.
Well, that's actually really cool. The idea that now the one thing that is kind of going against IMAX in this direction is VR consoles right now are just a bit, they're prohibitively expensive for the quality of technology that you get for most people. They're running about $800,
which makes it more sense, which makes the whole VR arcade idea make much more sense.
Until a year and a half from now, when the cost of the technology will drop precipitously.
That is also true.
And therefore, the business, looking at this from an investor standpoint, I'd be like, fuck no, because it's going to get to a point where people are going to be able to buy this for $500, and it's no different than an Xbox One.
Right.
That is true, which I guess kind of lends to the fact why it's important to get these deals like with Warner Brothers to create exclusive content, things that you cannot have access to in the home and consumer market.
True, very true.
You go to the movie. After the movie, you go play some exclusive content. It's adding to the theater going experience. I think you're getting like a whole nother bit of experience added to what you just saw. I think that's one way to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's the only saving grace that they've got, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Oculus Rift is kind of dead in the water now, but Sony and HTC are moving forward, and we'll see.
Okay, so real quick about the holodeck. So some of the requirements that they discuss is a virtual reality. Okay, so that's where you are basically in this fake computer generated world. Okay. That's what we've been talking about most for the last few minutes. So we're already there. We have these VR experiences already. The next bit is the augmented reality, and this is basically the cutting edge. In some aspects, it's already here. Pokemon Go, that is augmented reality. Okay, you're using your phone's camera to see the real world around you, and then the augmented part comes in when you see Pikachu sitting there, and you're interacting, throwing Pokeballs at it, so that bit is also here. There are other companies, I think Microsoft and Sony, they're kind of playing around with their own version of it as well, where they can take a room using the objects that are there and turn those objects into obstacles. So for instance, if you have a couch, they'd be able to turn the couch into a rock. So you know that you can go into it.
So Nick tripping over his couch would actually not happen because he would think it's a rock. Right.
Yeah, in a virtual
and my wall would be a
reality.
rock wall or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, if he was in a cave, it'd be the cave wall or whatever the case may be. So it's taking the real world and augmenting it in such a way.
Oh my God! Could you imagine a Star Trek game like that, where you'd be like on planet Hell? I want that game.
The next bit is the ability to sense humans, and we're starting to play around with this. Microsoft has the Kinect, which is able to kind of monitor motion. Google, with their assistant, Microsoft Cortana, Apple Siri, they're able to hear, and interpret voice commands.
Heck, so, the Wii and the Wii U have the motion. Same thing as Kinect, actually. Much more.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing.
And then mobile devices, they have accelerometers, gyroscopes, so all these different things that are, that are able to sense what we want, how we want to interact with things. So that is also here. However, the two items that are right there on the border or just a little bit out of reach is artificial intelligence, being able to kind of sort of almost predict what people are going to be able to do.
Give it a year.
Yeah.
What?
Give it a year.
I mean, it's coming. We're definitely making strides, but it's we still also have a long way to go. So that is one of them, and the other is it says almost human. So basically, once we have the AI, we have to make it get that AI to the point where it's predictive. It knows people well enough to be able to predict what they're going to do, and to be able to fool people well enough into thinking that what the person that they're talking to is a real person. In TNG, we saw that happen with the episodes with the Binars. That's supposedly when the holodeck people kind of like got a boost. And what's her name in that episode? Minuet. I mean, she took it even a whole other level above, based on what they had done to her, or done to the holodeck. But I think she was an exception. But then later on, we get the Doctor, and we get all of these other much more realistic holograms. That's also something else that is we still have to develop and come up with before we can actually have true holodeck technology. So that's what I thought that was interesting, and it kind of connects to what we're talking about. So
It'll be very interesting for me to see, the idea that you could play Star Trek Bridge Crew so easily amongst ourselves across the country is what really I found so enjoyable when I tested the game in New York. Was the idea that it didn't matter. I mean, it just happened to be that we were on a closed circuit system and I was playing with 3 other people in the same room, but I wouldn't know that because I didn't see them, and technically they could have been anywhere across the country. The idea that you could do that. The idea that VR may actually end up being something that you don't have to be. Like, the one thing about the holodeck is to enjoy the same experience, you kind of all had to be in the same room. What if you didn't? What if you could all just be
in
in
our
different...
our own neck of the
Yeah.
woods? And
Well, that's what the Hirogen kind of did. Remember where they linked all the holodecks together so that people were on different holodecks being hunted or whatever?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and the different holodecks also had different experiences as well. So I mean, it was kind of like it was they
A
were able
VR
to,
arcade.
Yeah, it was like a VR arcade for them.
Yeah.
I really do think that would be really fun. The idea that, you could share these VR experiences with friends that you've made across the globe, once again.
So I'd get to shoot Steve.
Being nice, the year of being nice
because
to
he's
Steve.
in England. That's why I said it. I wasn't saying it in a negative way. I'm just saying
Okay.
because Steve is in England.
But yeah, it's just the idea of having like global laser tag.
Good call, Mike.
It has son, only you would hear holodeck.
Oh boy.
But yeah, the idea that you could actually open up and play these games, that's why I love MMOs so much. I do. I love to play MMOs because it allows me to play with my friends who are all over the globe. The idea that we could do this in virtual reality and play these games kind of, could you imagine Stowe in VR? I'd love it. You'd be able to actually sit on your bridge and do the bridge aspect of it. You'd actually get a character to really blow it up and say, okay, I realize what I'm now is kind of pipe dreams or blue sky. But the idea that, you could actually pick a character whose role really is that role on the ship and stay on the ship or go down on away team. Go down. Yeah, to go on away missions and things like that. As if you were the CMO, you would go as a CMO, or if you were an engineer to be doing engineering things, all interplaying with each other. If you were on a crew or something, it would be really, really fucking amazing.
It'd be a Star Trek. It would be Star Trek Adventures, but in VR. I think that would because the idea of flying. Of flying a Stowe ship in VR, oh man, my motion sickness would just.
Well, see, that's the thing is that I would think of it as the only people who would be seeing outside, the window would be the people on the bridge, but you don't have to be on the bridge, right? What if you're an engineer, or if you're in the, where the warp core is, or what if you're working the bar? Just to be able to take a different role and achieve those missions. You don't always have to be the captain. It'd be fun. I think it'd be very interesting. And the next, 10 years are going to be freaking amazing to see the advancement of the technology. We also need to send out a real quick hello to our friend Brandon Felcher.
Hi, Brandon.
Have you guys heard about this?
No.
Brandon
I have no idea what you're
okay,
to say.
So does everybody know that Brandon moved to Ireland?
Yes.
Now living in Dublin, right?
I did know that, yes.
Okay. He's also a partner in a brand new bar arcade in Dublin called Token, and it's going to be a retro arcade. So there'll be pretty much everything from like Tempest to Frogger to Pac-Man and all of the arcade games that us 80s, 90s kids grew up with. And you can drink and eat at the same time. So it's pretty cool. It opens in May. So congratulations to Brandon on his business venture.
Right on.
Who?
What was it?
I said who?
Yes, son. Brandon moved to Ireland. He lives in Dublin now.
Dublin.
So, no, he did not. So there's a
Terry, you wanted to mention, you said you wanted to get back to
yeah,
the color palette?
and I know it's not Star Trek, but I kind of the Justice League trailer came out this week, and I don't know. I feel guilty for being thoroughly underwhelmed.
No.
So it wasn't just me.
No. Like I said, they're attempting witty banter. What's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah,
They're trying, but yeah.
But I just saw the trailer for Spider-Man, and to me, it's
Laughed
like,
your balls off, didn't you?
oh yeah, it's the first time I've ever wanted to see a Spider-Man film ever.
Mhm.
I was smiling the whole time.
But there was a scene in the car with Spider-Man and
Tony
Iron Man,
Stark.
and I'm like, why was that one funny, but the one from DC wasn't?
Whimsy. There's a sense
Okay.
of whimsy that the Marvel Universe brings to their movies. Do you think if they made an Atom movie, ATOM, they would ever make it half as funny as Paul Rudd and those guys were in Ant-Man?
Yeah, I was so disappointed in the Justice League because I love Aquaman, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh really? Oh come on, really? They just made him into
They made him into a Game of Thrones frat boy.
Yeah, I was so heartbroken over that. I really was. I'm like,
It-
oh come on.
They seem to think that everything apocalyptic does not mean can't be fun. The Avengers have proven that.
Nothing says fun like the end of the world.
But
Well, you can still be snark is snark. Snark is funny. Snark can be, and
Talking about
sometimes when you're
shawarmas in
dealing
the
with
middle of-
harsh shit, you make some of the funniest jokes.
talking about
Exactly, I
shawarmas
mean-
in the middle of the world coming to an end, and making it work. But again, Jon Favreau, Joss Whedon, these are all people with a sense of timing.
Well,
The
if
DC
the
movies don't have
rumors,
timing. Oh, did you see
the
my
rumor,
cyber boner?
yeah, the rumor that Joss Whedon will be directing the new Batgirl
Oh.
would be fucking unbelievable.
And I my vote is for Jessica Chastain. That's me.
I don't really care right now as to who plays it. I hope they find somebody new, to be honest.
But my question is, would they allow Joss Whedon to be Joss Whedon?
Who is this? Warner? Who is this?
Mhm.
Is it Warner Brothers?
Because it would fit into the DCU, the DCCU.
You know, I don't know. I really don't know. Warner Brothers is weird.
Yeah, they don't want to make money, right? Guys only got a track record.
Well, that's the thing, right? They I don't know. They might. It just depends. It just depends on. Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes they have huge hits, right? That they know how to burn and churn. And look at what they did. Now, okay, here's the kicker. Why was the Harry Potter series so successful for Warner Brothers?
Well, Chris Columbus directed them, and Chris Columbus,
The first
knows-
two.
yeah,
And
he
Yates
knows,
did Money, and even Quadrone did one.
yeah.
But who had creative control?
Oh, her, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and maybe that's the difference. Is Marvel with Kevin Feige?
They have
It
one
all-
person in
It
charge.
all emanates from him.
Yep, and
And
Disney
I don't mean
allows
that
it
in an
because
emperor
Disney
type
knows.
way.
Yeah, Marvel
they have-
Studios still acts as Marvel Studios.
And they've got a decade jump. Warner Brothers didn't need to catch up to them and do it all at once.
Because
Fans
now
would
it
be
just looks like
perfectly
they're-
happy.
Yeah. Now,
With
because
a
I can tell
long
you right
rollout.
now, looking at Justice League, I just thought to myself, "Oh my God, could you come off less like a cheap knockoff of the Avengers?" Because
Yeah.
really, that's what it looked like.
Yeah. And didn't you agree watching that? Look, I said it when he was cast, and I maintain it. I think Ben Affleck is very good as Bruce Wayne / Batman. I even thought he was good in Batman vs Superman, and I detest that movie. I like him. It's the older Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight Returns Bruce Wayne. I like that.
Yeah,
But
he doesn't
Gal
bother me.
Gadot is right now the heart of that whole series. There's something that she brings to it, a different kind of spark, a different kind of timing. There's maybe
You want to know why? Because she's not Black Widow.
No,
She's
that's
the antithesis of Black Widow. Everybody else really doesn't have a counterpart in the Avengers. What they did to this was make it look like, okay, so he's DC's Iron Man. Oh, okay, so he's DC's Thor. He is DC, or I mean, sorry, you know what I mean? It's like Superman is DC's Thor.
Did you notice he's not in the Justice League trailer?
I know.
Which is interesting.
Well,
because he died.
Well, and also I'm looking at this just again. Everything about it was just like it was just somebody sat down with a Xerox machine and goes, okay, this is DC's Iron Man, so let's give him this, and okay, so but he can't look exactly alike, so he's got to get this.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is completely different. She is not Black Widow. She's not this dark assassin, snarky, whatever. She's a fucking gleaming pillar of goodness.
She's a hero. Oh,
exactly.
Speaking of Wonder Woman, and watch how I do this. Okay, kids, watch this. Chris Pine is in the Wonder Woman movie. Chris Pine also, did you see the commercial for Angie Tribeca that he's going to be in?
that show.
Have you seen it where he's like Hannibal Lecter behind the glass and he's licking the glass and everything? Chris Pine is fucking awesome.
I love Chris Pine. And
see how I did that though? You see how I brought it into Star Trek?
Yes.
Thank
and
you.
I have to say, talking about heroic characters, I'm going to bring it back around to Beyond, and that is Kirk is finally the heroic character I wanted him to be in the first two films.
Mm-hmm. And he cared more about his crew than himself.
Right. I mean, they finally brought out that part about Kirk that I really, really loved about the original series Kirk, and that is he may have been cocky, he may have been, a flirt, but at the end of the day, he was always, always, always about doing the right thing.
But I watched that trailer, and people are gonna go, "Oh, you're a Marvel fanboy." Actually, most of my subscriptions are to DC. For my weekly pull list. But when it comes to being entertained at the films, I don't want to be sitting in a monochromatic experience. And somehow they have it in their heads that it needs to be colorless. And Wonder Woman's outfit is not supposed to be colorless. Marston made it red, white, and blue and shiny for a reason. Superman's red and blue for Aquaman with the orange and the green, and the Flash with the bright red for a reason. And they don't have soul. Gal Gadot is the only one that seems to have a soul in their movies. I think that's what sets it apart.
I agree. Mikey.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say on this?
I mean, you guys are saying it pretty well. I mean, that is one of the problems with DC films is everything is so dark. You can't see anything. And I do agree. DC's characters, the vast majority of them, with the exception of Batman, are these bright, hopeful characters. There's beacons of goodness. They're examples, ways for people to live by. And we're not getting any of that from the films, from the cinematic universe, except for Wonder Woman, although we haven't really seen enough of her to really know. Hopefully they do continue to, or they kind of recapture that a part of her character in the film, but we don't really know until they until they release it. But yeah, I agree. I mean, they need to recapture what makes these characters special. And the color of their costumes is part of it, and I agree. They need to lighten up and brighten up.
Now, Mike, you watch Supergirl, right?
Yes.
Isn't part of the joy of that show her eternal optimism?
Yes, she inspires us to aspire to be more like her. That's kind of what these DC characters. What makes me love these DC characters is they inspire me to aspire to be more like them.
And Terry, I know you don't watch it, but Kara is always looking to the. Matter of fact, the last, what is it, like 2 episodes with dealing with Mon-El and Kevin Sorbo and Terry Hatcher were on the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I heard about that.
It's so great. But her whole thing was about she loves being a hero, and Mon-El loves that about her, that she loves being the hero and doing and helping. That's what we're not getting from the movies. Superman, oh, I don't want to be a hero. No, that's not who
It's
and I
always
hate him.
it's an overplay of the reluctant hero.
Yeah, and that's not who he is.
And let's face it, when it comes to the
I'm not a
Avengers,
fan
Iron
of
Man is
Superman.
there, right?
Yeah.
He's on board. He wants to do this. He wants to do it so bad that even after he had a successful surgery, he's still doing it.
And I disagree with Tony Stark's position in Civil War.
Yeah,
I totally
but
disagree with his
understand it.
position, but I understand it. He still wants to help people, and he's looking at it. Look, I can be a hero, but I have to be registered to do this. I'm totally on Team Cap. By the way, Terry, now that you've seen it, Team Cap or Team Tony?
I can understand. It's funny. I can understand both sides.
Oh, I can understand both.
I can understand, but I have to say,
But the libertarian in me says Team Cap.
Well, yeah, but I'm just, it's the same thing as Team Cap when he looked up at the, in the Winter Soldier, and he looked up at the three big conveyors going, this isn't freedom.
Yeah.
This, that's not freedom. That's everything we've been raised as Americans to rail against.
My biggest problem with that movie, and it's a funny problem. It's not even a problem. They all got in trouble because of the destruction, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they had to be. So yet, what do? They go to this airport and they crush this airport.
It, right?
They destroy it.
It's so funny. I would have to say I'm probably still on Team Cap at the end of it, especially because maybe it's because I know the comic books and I know kind of what in the future was probably going to happen with Bucky.
Right.
But I was so thrilled that Bucky did what he needed to do, and that was I'm not good yet. I have to, throw me in the freezer, throw me in the freezer. And I thought, I bought that hook, line, and sinker.
Which is a heroic thing to do.
Absolutely. Although not very many people would understand that because they would still see him as the criminal. And as a victim of crime, you would so want to see that person pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wonderful, thick sociological discussions we could have about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say I'm on Team Cap, although I'm absolutely totally understanding of Iron Man's POV.
Look, any Team Hawkeye's on, that's the team I'm on. I'm just saying.
Mikey, do we have any announcements?
Yes.
Do we have something from George?
Huh?
Not George.
From Chooch.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. From Live, Love, Play.
From Live, Love, Play.
He didn't get it to me in time for this week's episode. However, remember, Live, Love, Play every day. On his website, there's the For the Love of, which is his interview series. Ross talks to Jason Tondro. So check out that interview. So iliveloveplay.com. So yeah, that there it is, Ross. I got your back, man. Semantic Shenanigans has a new episode 7. Julia the documentary Slayer. So check that out. Our G&T show, our website, we've got a couple new articles. Star Trek Online Season 13 launch date announced. So look for that on our site, as well as the Star Trek product news roundup for March. So this is everything that came out during the month of March. And we've already started collecting links for April. So look for that next month. But check out this month. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Very cool. Awesome. Now, next week, I will be back from Chicago. I'll be in Chicago late this week, and I'll be back in time for next week's show. So you are most welcome to join us for next week's show, which will be on April 12th? No, yeah. What date?
Nice.
April 9th? My calendar is
the week after that. I'll be with you, Terry.
That's right.
Well, next Saturday is my 1-year anniversary to my wonderful wife.
Yay!
Married 1 year, and I've got to tell you, after finding her after 25 years, it's everything I could have hoped for.
Very nice. That's so sweet. Is that next weekend?
Saturday, yeah.
Oh, very cool. Will you be around for next week's show?
Not sure yet.
Okay, so if not, Mikey and I will carry the banner, and you can please join us next week for episode 274. Until then, live long and prosper.
Kapla.
What episode was this?
273.
Thank you. Joel Antrue Supergirls, GNT 273.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5-Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Greth Thor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my old man. Represent the human race. And we make this a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends with aliens. To boldly go where no man's gone before. Space happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. To boldly go where no man's gone before. Space happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Space happy.
Check out more videos from the GNT show. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to check out Semantic Shenanigans and live, love, play.